Yes, we want to get some basic training for Toto, crate training, some behavioral training with potty training and interacting with other dogs and people so that there's no chewing up of shoes and toys and things like that. So yeah, the basics, house training, how to sit, how to stay, listen, come when they're cold, and again, crate training.
Now I'm going to practice a little sit-stay. So this is where we're at this point. No. If he gets up, you turn him away or around. It's actually away from his mistake. So he was facing me. He popped up. I turned him around. It's a reset. And then he waits till I come back. Go. And then I release him I use my finger and I send him away. And he's free. So we're in the beginning stages of a sit-stay right now. If he makes a mistake, so we know now in modern dog training that if the dog makes a mistake, you turn them away and their brain has a chance to reset and get it right the second time. If you don't and you just keep going sit, 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 and they're in the same place, they can get stuck in that pattern of mistake after mistake after mistake, and then they practice a mistake and it gets worse. So if he makes a mistake, turn him away from his mistake, reset again. The likely thing is that he does it the right way the second time at this point, as long as you're doing my moves, okay? So now I'm going to do another sit-stay. I'm going to have him walk with me. Okay, he walks with me. Always turn into the dog. Let's go, buddy, come on. Coax him to catch up if he lags behind. Always turn into him. Sit. Good, and he gets a little reward, straight down like that. And we'll do another sit-stay. We'll see how good he can do now, because he's starting to warm up. So he's sitting. And that's really big. He's only been able to do this for like 2 days now. I was hoping I'd have more time, but this is how far I've gotten so far. You go back to him, see how he's looking up at me, eye contact. Good. Reward, and then before he makes a mistake, go. Remember, always end it while he's doing well. If you try to do something too long, he makes a mistake, you've kind of blown it because you can't end it on a mistake. So always end it while he's doing well, and you'll see every time that you do it, it'll be a little bit better. In a week's time, 10 days time, you'd be way better because you did it this way. Always end it while he's having fun. If you just did stuff 3 minutes a day, 4 minutes a day right now with this puppy, not with every dog, but this individual puppy who's super hyper and all of that, and young, he would keep getting better and better. I always start using the commands as soon as possible in a real life situation, as soon as I can, because they get better so much quicker that way. And one real life situation would be practicing this greeting routine. And with a little dog, it's not that important because he doesn't jump on people, knock them down or whatever, but still, it's a great way to develop his focus and his calmness. Using the sit, stay, and everything else, the come command and all that, the release, the go, which is a command, also the come command, using it in a real life context with somebody he likes. He knows Cruz, and because Cruz has been helping me take care of him, and he hasn't seen Cruz since yesterday, so he's all excited to see Cruz. So we have him, okay, walk him up to the person, have him sit, step away. That's what's called a sit-stay. No, if he pops up, guess what I'm going to do? A little reset with your body. Sit. See how distracted the little puppy is, but he's still sitting. Give the person a treat. No. We're going to leave all this in because this is, without the lessons for me, this is what's going to happen to you for sure. So that's why I make this video, so you can see that actually if he's handled in a certain way, he can be really good. So now he's waiting. I gave Cruz the treat. We're going to do a little sit-stay where he accepts me walking behind him, which frankly, most adult dogs can't do that. They always pop up. So he's doing pretty good for a little youngster. He waits till I come back next to him. I'm going to pat his chest and say, go say hi. He goes to say hi, he gets a treat. Cruz pets him. He doesn't jump all over him. Wait, you have to grab the leash, okay? So he doesn't come back to me. Grab that leash. Come. And call him back to me. Good. So Cruz had a treat, and Cruz is petting him, but he already can't wait to come back to me. Sit. We're going to do that again. And I usually just do it 3 times because it seems like for this little guy, 3 times is the charm for him, and then he starts getting frustrated. But once he starts doing this really well with you, see, now I'm going around both ways. That's really good. He was only able to handle that side as of yesterday, so he's doing really good. Cruz has a treat. I pat his chest. Go say hi. Then I'm going to call him to come to me. Come. Good. That was 2 times. We'll do 1 more. Okay, bud. Come on, this way. See, I'm always doing a left circle, and then at the end of that circle, sit. You're resetting the dog when you're using your body. In essence, you're kind of herding him. H-E-R-D, herding him with your body. It's body language, makes the dog feel safe, makes the dog feel like you're dominant, like you're in charge. And you become dominant by the way you handle him, not because you're rough with him or you yell at him, you cause him pain and he's afraid so he does what you say. That just never worked well. This works so much better. Handle him in a way so that he perceives you as being the boss in a gentle but firm way. Go. Come. Good. Okay. So that was 3. That was the greeting routine. If you just did this every day with somebody, just do it with family members. Just make sure you do it exactly the way you see it being done here. Make sure that he waits until you send him over, all that. But remember, I've had a number of weeks to teach him this. So here's a big rule to remember. Dogs associate behavior with people and places. He's here with me, the guy that taught him this from day 1. So this is what he does with me. He's going to go to new people somewhere else. He's not going to know them. Those people are not going to know how to do this. He's probably going to be wild and crazy, and that's, of course, why I make the video, and I hope somehow I'll be able to come help whoever takes him somehow. But even if I don't, watch the video and just try to do a little bit more every day. He'll come around. But really, when I'm not able to give the owners a lesson, which is hardly ever, and we just send a dog somewhere, you have to be the trainer. You have to continue the training. This stuff that he knows, he's only known it he's only been doing it successfully for a few days at this point. Just know that it's kind of like wet paint on a wall or wet cement. It's not set in him. It's brand new behavior. It needs to be continued so that he does this all the time. But the byproduct of doing this is a super calm little dog. And man, he's a hyper little dog when he first came here. So you can see already, this makes him tired, but in a good way. Mental exertion makes the dog tired. Don't think you're going to go on walks and hikes and stuff and make him tired and that's going to help you. Then you're relegated to every day make him tired so he doesn't misbehave, so he doesn't drive you crazy, so he doesn't bark like crazy. It's a really old-fashioned, ineffective way to make the dog not drive you crazy. What I'm doing here, the byproduct of how I'm doing it, you get this. Super calm, chilled out, sweet little guy that's not a lunatic. So just keep that in mind, that mental exertion is the way to make him tired. And then also, you have something to show for it. All these great, solid commands. The constant walking with the dog walkers and all that kind of stuff, just going to make him crazy again, and it's not going to help you. So I just want to make sure that I get that across to you. Come on, buddy, let's go. Okay, this is a very useful exercise that I do with him. I've worked up to like 4 or 5 minutes a day now. And it's my version of go to your place. You know, most trainers always have had go to your place, and then the dog goes there and you go somewhere else, he falls asleep, he gets up when he feels like it, and you're gone. So this is more like a laser beam specific exercise. It's an interactive exercise that you do with the dog. I'm boring him because I'm talking too much. He also likes the sun. And I think the concrete's kind of warm. So do you see also, if he wants to pull somewhere, do you see what I'm doing? This is really important. I'm glad that I thought to tell you this. It's leash handling etiquette 101. If the dog is pulling, don't restrain him with continuous tension. It just makes the dog pull away from you and also stresses the dog out and makes them overstimulated, and bad behavior comes from that state of mind. So keep the leash loose, and when he goes to the end of that, tap and release. It's a tap and release. For some reason, when people choke up like this and hold the dog like that, in the dog's perception of you is that you're irrelevant, or maybe he thinks you're his valet that he's going to try to drag around town or whatever. But when you tap, you're literally communicating with him, and I think that's part of why it works so well. And it gives him the impression that somebody's in charge and giving him signals of what to do. And then if he's looking up at you like that, good, and being so sweet and so good, you should reward him, because really we're after rewarding a certain state of mind. This is a state of mind that you want him in 24/7, right? You want him this way with the kids. You want him sweet, cute, not going crazy and mouthing and biting and all that kind of stuff that he would be prone to do. So if you catch him in this, he's looking up lovingly at you, you need to reward that, because if you always reward the state of mind and the behavior that you want to see all the time, if you're always rewarding it and giving it attention, it's going to grow in strength. When he's acting out of his mind, don't correct him. Corrections now, we know, are attention for bad behavior. And there's no way you'd be able to correct him severely enough to make it make a difference anyway. And nobody wants to do that. He's going to be somebody's baby, so you don't want to hurt him. So that's really, really old-fashioned and never worked. So always give attention to what you want him to become more of. Ignore bad behavior. Call him to come. Call him out of that behavior. Come and have him do a sit, stay, or down. Say, grab the leash. Oh, little whatever his name is going to be is really acting up. Go grab a treat out of your little bowl on the counter. Call him to come to you, because every time you call him to come, it needs to be like, hey, I just have a gift for you. Hook him up to his leash. Have him do a sit, stay. Do that walk around sit, stay. It could take you 10, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Call him into work mode, that state of mind where all good things come from. He's looking up at you, reward him, release him. If he gets crazy again, call him and do it again. Or whip out the little bath mat or whatever you're using for your mat and do this exercise I'm about to do. So you put the mat down, you lead him up to the mat, sit. You have him sit in front of it, and then he's on my left, of course, with my right hand. I'm going to say, go to your mat, and then down. He's getting better at this now. So he's in a down. This is how we teach a dog a down stay. Good. Very quickly, by using this mat, you take like 3 months off the process. Good. And in another week or two, if he was still here, he'd be doing this down anywhere. So once they start getting really good on the mat, then I can start doing the down stay anywhere. Good. Notice how I'm putting the reward on the mat and withdrawing. I'm not throwing it down. I'm not acting hyper. He's only going to be as calm as the person training him. That's another thing you should know. So put yourself in this calm state of mind. Good. Always say good when he takes the treat, right? Always. Because you want him to love that word, so that when you don't have treats, which will be most of the time in a few weeks, hopefully, you won't need the treat, because he'll just love to hear that word and get petted. Good. So I may not end up doing this for 5 minutes, but I just want to show you how it works. See how I gradually am going around a little bit more on each side. And he is a puppy, so we have to be patient with his lack of attention, focus. Good, but he is staying in a down, which it took a long time for him to do this. He's so hyper and wiggly. But every day it gets a little bit better. Good. And the more time that you do this, the more he's going to be, we want him to be calm 24/7. So the byproduct of this training that I do, good, is a dog that's changed 24/7. That's the whole point, because who can be there to do training all the time? Nobody. So we want to, there are 6 or 8 or 10 minutes a day when we do stuff with him, we need it to be high quality. So he popped up. So I'm going to say no. And very gently but firmly, I step on the leash and I ease him down, and he knows what that means now. Good, and then I mark that behavior by good. So if you correct him, and that was a super mild correction, I just really reset him in a way, and he's doing what you want him to do again, good. Make sure you reward him. So you reward him for what you want him to do more of. You gently but firmly, with no drama, correct or reset him back again. If I had to reset him 5 times in a row like that, I would have done it. He would have been successful. The 6th time, nope, that too. I want him to be, so down is on his elbows, okay? So see when he does that, I pull back. See how he's doing it less and less? Nope, and no pawing of my, nope. So now I'm just showing you some stuff that I would be doing for the next week or 2. We want that stuff to end. Nope, he's starting to lose focus. No. Good. So he's on his elbows. He didn't do that thing anymore. Good. I'm going to wrap this up because this is an example of him losing focus. He can't do much more. This video is a lot of training in a row. This video is way more training, good, in a row than he's done ever, because I always do it in little periods throughout the day. But that's how we got to the point where he can actually handle this. He's got the walk around down stays. One last reward. No, don't start doing that again. No. Good. Well, he pawed me, but we'll work on that later. Or somebody will, hopefully. Okay. He comes off the mat. Come on, bud. He loves his mat, so okay. Make sure that you reinforce what you tell him to do in a gentle but firm way. No, he's like, no, I don't want to leave. But he has to. So you lead him off the mat, you say sit, and then go. And he's free. And you pick up the mat. So the mat, the way this works so well is you only practice one behavior on this mat. Okay, so this is based in learning theory, modern dog training. He associates that one behavior of when you say down the first time. Notice I only said down once in the beginning of the exercise. He associates that with this piece of fabric. And so now, and you can watch that again, he pretty much automatically went into a down as I said it, because that's the only thing he does on this piece of fabric. It's not a doggy bed. A doggy bed is a free time place. He can come and go as he pleases. And it's not to be a bath mat. It's not to be anything where he walks across or whatever. It's sacred. It's the magic mat. It's the yoga mat for the dog. You put it down, you go get him, he's on a leash, he needs permission to go on. You do your little thing for 2 or 3 or 4 minutes, you release him off, and you take him somewhere, release him and grab it. He can only go on it with your permission. He plays this awesome little game that he does with you, and then he's released, and it goes away. And so that's why this mat is so powerful. It's really the foundation exercise for all the other stuff, because if you just did this every day for 5 minutes or so when he gets older, you see he gets calmer and calmer and calmer. And who doesn't want a solid downstay? Pretty soon he's down on the mat, you're going outside, knocking on the door, ring the doorbell, you come back, he will not move. And if you go to my YouTube channel, there's almost 1,000 dogs that went through this program. They all do that, whether it's out in the yard when I leave the yard or it's in the house when I go outside. They won't leave the mat until I come back and release them, no matter what the distraction is. And then you see a lot of those dogs out in public and being able to handle a Home Depot or some busy place. And the reason they can do that is because of doing this mat exercise. So it's a really important thing to do. Okay, buddy, let's go. Okay, here's how I've been using the crate. This crate's been next to my bed. I've watched this little guy like a hawk. He sleeps next to me. At first, he was having a problem like every hour going to the bathroom in the crate when I first got him. Now, because I put him out, well, I put him out first thing in the morning, straight away when we wake up, and I put him out right before we go to bed, and he gets a good 10 or 15 minutes outside in a very secure yard, of course, and then straight from there we go to sleep. And he's been holding it almost every night now for like the last week to 10 days, so he's getting a lot better. Throughout the day, he's out every hour. And I think I've only had one accident in there in the last week, so he's way better than he was. You just keep that up. And so you want him house-trained, housebroken, I call it house-trained. So here's the general rules. If you want this to happen fast, You do what I've been doing. He's either outside in a very safe, secure yard where nobody can get in and he can't get out, of course. He's in his crate, and always in his crate after, when he's empty, straight from going to the bathroom, that's when he goes in his crate. And then if he's inside with you, he's supervised on this leash. If I'm watching TV, I'm on the sofa or something, he's next to me, I got the leash, he's in his little doggy bed, or he can be on your lap if you want, I guess. If I'm at the computer, he's next to me on a leash. If I'm cooking in the kitchen, he's next to me. I got the leash tied to a little handle in a drawer or something. Supervise him so that you'll see if he needs to go, he'll even start whining a little bit, or he'll start circling. Scoop him up. You don't have to walk him. Scoop him up and put him outside. So it's all about establishing the pattern of him only being able to go outside. If you let him run around the house unsupervised, or even you think you're watching him but he's not on a leash, you turn away, he can pee over there and come back and you may not even notice it, and then you've blown all this work. So all this time I've had him, why are you being so cute? All this time that I've had him, he's never had an accident in the house because I've followed those rules. And so you could ride this wave, do exactly what I've been doing. And remember, don't put him in his crate unless he was outside first and he's empty. If you have him in the house for a while, he may kind of almost need to go. You put him in his crate, then he can't hold it, he may go because he's such a little baby still. So always, before you put him in the crate, put him outside again, make sure he's gone, then put him in his crate for a while, and then when you take him out of the crate, outside again, and then inside, and then outside and in the crate, and then outside and with you. So always letting him, he loves his crate, always letting him go to the bathroom first before you put him in the crate, or have him with you inside. And if you kept doing this, he could be housebroken in a couple more weeks. And you gradually give him more access. And maybe you drop the leash, but watch him like a hawk for 5 minutes. And now he's got this, let's just do that. Let him go. You have this really good little recall. So let's pretend this is inside your house. I'm going to put a treat on top of this. So he's not going to see me. I don't think he is. Here, have that treat. Look at that. So show him how far away I'm walking, okay? I'm going to put this behind the crate so he doesn't see me, because he wants to follow me everywhere now, of course. Come. Good boy, good. When you start giving him more access in the room, you're watching him and you think that he's circling or something, call him to come to you and he'll come running to you. And you got the leash on him already. Let him drag this leash around for a little while so you don't have to grab him and chase him around. Okay, lots of advice to give you. Here's how I use the crate. I have him sit. I open the crate door. This is really hard for him because he can't wait to get in there. So I'm going to kind of hold him there. He's not quite there yet. Go. And the reason he wants to get in there is because every association with this crate is a good one. I toss a little piece of treat in there. I don't know if you saw me do that. And then I give him some more while I unhook the leash and I close the door. Everything about going in and out of this crate is super positive. Everything's positive. It's not for, it's not a punishment. Dogs are naturally den animals. Even a little dog like this is mostly wolf DNA. So they naturally will love their own little place to cozy up and have a little privacy. That's why we don't use a cage, a wire cage. Better for cats, I think. Probably a cat would like this too, though. You want to do a solid plastic crate. It's way easier to manage anyway and to clean, and it gives them privacy and gives them their own little cozy place. I feed him in here only, so 3 or 4 times a day he gets treats. He also gets treats, when he eats this natural balance stuff is food too. So he's eating when he's training. He gets his meals throughout the day. Everything good happens in there, so he's associating that as a really cool place. Also, it makes him way more likely to hold it when he's in there and not pee, not go to the bathroom. So, because he's not going to want to go where he eats and sleeps. He sleeps in there overnight.'s got a good 7.5, 8 hours going now where he doesn't have an accident. I take him out right away, like I told you earlier, and he's doing good. I control the boundary. So you saw how I had him sit and he had to wait to go in, and when I go to get him out, treat first. I'm giving him a treat. I got the leash in my other hand. I reach in there. Got stuck on the door. I reach in there and I hook him up to his little leash. And then if he wants to run out, I'm just going to do this. No. And then I say, okay. And he comes out with my permission. I close this door because later on, he's going to want to get in there. And if you let him go in and out at will, you squander your greatest power with the crate. So it's another boundary to control so that he thinks that you're unquestionably the boss. If he has to wait for your permission to go in and out of his den, and also you can give him bones and chewies and things like that. I haven't really done that much yet because I think he's too young at this point. But everything good happens in there. He loves to be in there. So you get to use it as a tool for training. Sit. See? Nope. See how excited he gets? It's actually a really valuable place to practice. Make sure that this leash is always loose. Nope. If he goes, you do that little tap and it puts him back. Nope. We tapped him a couple times. Nope. Go. Send him in. Treat. Unhook him. Another treat. Close the door. Just gets better and better and better. Easy and easier for you. And at this size, you can pick this up, but he's going to outgrow this crate. We're sending him home today with this, but he's going to need a bigger one soon, maybe in the next week or two. Okay, let's go. So this is the yard where we've been practicing with Toto. This is his main yard. And Toto, whatever his name will be in the future, is okay. I don't call him by his name anyway. I just use the command. So you change the name, of course, and it won't matter to him. Don't take him out in public. Put him on the ground anywhere. He's too young. He's too fragile. I haven't taken him out at all. This yard is cleaned 2-3 times a day, and everybody has their shots here. And of course, he's healthy. This is like a half an hour right now before he leaves, before he's being picked up. And I just want to show you how far we've gotten up to this point. With a little puppy, just a few of the basic concepts first. You want to do short periods of learning, even if it's 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You don't do long training sessions because his little brain can't handle it. And really, we all learn better if we learn in little digestible pieces of time. So for us, if we had 30 minutes a day to train or to practice or learn something, it'd be much better if we split it up into 10 3-minute periods of learning, that we would learn way more than just doing 30 minutes straight. And it's the same concept for his little brain. So I'm just going to show you the basic stuff that we're working on. He's finally getting used to being on a leash. At first, he was like a little bucking bronco, didn't understand it. One of the concepts that's really important is that if you move without pulling, okay, like this, and tap, he'll come with you. And I'm going to stay in the camera's range here and do circles. See? He didn't want to go at first, but I tap. You see how I'm tapping and moving? You tap and move. You don't choke up and drag because, well, he's getting it now, but you'll be dragging him around. So if he ever puts on the brakes and doesn't want to go somewhere, tap and back away. When you back away or when you move, the dog is drawn to come with you. And we use that with the command come, for example, which is everybody's most important command. The come command could save his life someday. God forbid he ever gets out and he's on the street or something, and he's going to go across the street to see another dog or a squirrel, who knows. You want to have such a rock-solid recall that he doesn't think about it. He hears it, he stops whatever he's doing, he turns around and comes running back to you. So you will have that if you practice in this way, and I'm going to show you. Just without any distraction here, I'm going to create my own distraction, because you always practice calling him to come when he's at least looking away from you, because we always try to practice a real life situation. You're never going to have to or need to call him to come to you, usually, if he's staring right there, staring lovingly up at you. You're going to need him to come to you when he's moving away from you, when he's interested in something else, when he's about to get in the trash or go sniff something gross on the ground, whatever, or go jump on somebody, although he's so tiny, I don't know if that would matter. But so you're going to practice in a real life situation. I'm going to create a distraction right now by throwing a piece of treat, and then I'll show you how I've been practicing the come command. Look at this, bud. Go. So he's distracted. Come. Good. So maybe you can't see it, but he broke away from this treat that he likes so much. By the way, these are Natural Balance sausage treats. They come in a sausage casing. You can buy them at Petco or online, and we can send one home with whoever's picking him up today as well. It's lamb. That's the kind we've been using. And I would recommend to stick with it because it obviously goes well with him. It agrees with him. So you saw I called him to come. He dropped it, came running back to me. So his come command's getting really good all of a sudden. So here's a big piece, distraction time. So the way I'm doing this, if you're doing this little come exercise, just say 1 minute a day. You have the reward in your palm, and then you have the piece you're going to use for the distraction in between your thumb and your index finger. Go, come, call him away from it. Good, you can see he left it there. And one of the reasons that he does this every time he drops that to come to this is because this piece that I have is bigger. So you do these little subtle things, and it makes a huge difference. Whatever he wants to get to, that he's like, oh, I got to have that. He knows now, and I've imprinted this in him the last few weeks, that when you say come, there's something always better and bigger. So to have this recall, come command be so deep in him that like he always turns away from anything he wants to get to and comes running back to you. It's a reflex without thinking at all, which is the only thing that matters really. He needs to just, there's no thinking. He just hears it, boom, comes back to you. To have that, you have to make him think, when somebody calls me to come, they're going to give me a gift. So you never call him to come, and when you're upset, and even if you are upset with him, when he comes to you, you pretend like you're not to love him up, because who would come to you if they thought that they were in trouble? So in order to have this really solid command, it's all like, hey, I just want to give you a gift. And that's why we have what we have so far with him. So it's all positive, 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 of course. Let's do it one more time. Notice how I'm doing it. And just to show you the little moves, the way I do it every time, if you do it the same way every time, then you just do it like second nature. You know, it's just easy. It's left hand leash, right hand reward. I do it the same way. I don't even have to think about it anymore. If I'm going to practice the recall with him, by the way, you practice in this way so that you have it off leash with no treat. Okay? So I have the leash to reinforce the command if he doesn't do it. You never repeat it. If you want him to always do a command the first time you tell him, never repeat the command. Never practice without a leash unless it's an emergency. And that's not practice, but never do this unless it's an emergency without a leash, because the leash is a way to gently but firmly, he's drinking water as if he hasn't had enough, but he's had access to water 24/7. He must like that water. We just hose the yard down. So you practice this so that when in an emergency, you practice it this way every time so that it always works in an emergency without a leash. Left hand leash, right hand reward. Come. Back away. Good. Because when you back away, the dog is drawn to you. When you stand still, it's not half as good. And when you move towards him, he may run away from you. Just basic body language and dog training. So you'll always back away, and you see how it's going to work now. I just back away without saying the command. He can't help himself. He's going to follow me. Good. In these early stages of his training, if I ever do that, even if I'm just demonstrating something, when he comes to me, I'm going to reward him. Just that one thing made it better. So always make sure that you're set up for success. And in another month or so, if you keep doing this with him, he's just going to have this great recall for the rest of his life. It's already pretty good. If he ever ignores your come command, you just tap it. Come. Good, just like that. Never repeat the command. If you say it even twice, you dilute the power of the command. That goes for the other commands as well. So this is about less. Less is more. Talk less, do less, no funny noises, no snapping of fingers, no squirt bottles, no hand signals. It doesn't have to be that complicated. It can't be if you want him to learn at a deep level. Later on, if whoever has him wants to really get into training, you can get all fancy with other stuff, but he has to have this foundation. Rock solid sit stay, down stay. He does everything come. The first time you say it, this is how you get that. You gently but firmly reinforce it with a leash if he doesn't respond. All he knows is he did whatever you told him to do, and he gets paid for it. Something good happens, and you always stop before, or when you see he starts to get frustrated, always end on a success. Always end your little interaction on a success, and give him a rest period. They remember how it ends. So if it ends with a success, he'll remember that, and he'll be a little bit better the next time you practice. Practice that come command one last time. Left hand leash, right hand reward. Always call him to a closed hand, because guess what happens in real life later on when the training's done? He doesn't know this is empty. So without a leash, without a reward, closed hand. And I'll do it now. Come. Good boy. Love him up. Everything's great. And he barely even misses that reward. And as time goes on, he really won't care. He's still happy. He doesn't feel ripped off that he didn't have a reward. He has no idea, even now, why he's got to get to this. All he knows is good stuff happens when I come to this. So notice how, when I call him, come. Good. That was with a treat. It's a pet and a treat at the same time you say good. So don't go like this. Good, or, good, and then fumble for the treat. You've blown it if you do that. If you want this to be really deep and have him learn really quickly, everything happens simultaneously, and he has this great association with that word come and the petting. He feels great because he gets the treat at the same moment. You phase out the treat in a few weeks, and he still has that great feeling. And yeah, every once in a while, give him a treat. Why not? But you won't have to have it to get him to do anything. Make sure you always back away. With all of this stuff, it's how you practice that matters. The devil's in the details with this. If I didn't back away, but I did everything else the same, it wouldn't be half as good. And if I didn't say the reward term, which is good, of course, at the moment I gave him the treat, it wouldn't be half as good. So the devil's in the details. Do it exactly the way I did it, and he'll just keep getting better and better. So I'm going to call him to come to me one last time, and then I'm going to have him do a little sit. We'll see how he does. So he's walking away from me. He's about to. I'm going to wait till he turns away from me. He's sniffing. Come. Good. I took the leash. I'm going to step into him and say sit.